Yesterday, we got the world premiere of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and people are losing their minds over this new Viking-themed entry to the series. At first glance, it seems like we don't know too much, with Ubisoft only releasing a single cinematic trailer. However, we actually got quite a lot of information, thanks to 2 blog posts from Ubisoft and several articles and interviews from sites like Game Informer, Eurogamer, and GameSpot. All of this gave us a lot of details about the game's story, gameplay, systems, mechanics, and more. I'm not going to be going over any major story spoilers, they really haven't released anything, but I will be talking about the basic details and specifics we got about this game, because we actually know a lot more about Valhalla than you might originally suspect, so let's jump into it. Valhalla starts off by throwing us into 9th century England, the age of warring kingdoms and Viking conquest. We'll be playing as Eivor, a fierce Viking raider tasked with leading our clan to build a new home. As it shows off in the cinematic trailer, the game begins with us in our home of Norway until we are tasked with moving our clan to the shores of England to escape the dwindling resources and never-ending war. So I want to talk about a lot of the game's core features and things that we've learned about, starting off with the RPG mechanics. Players are said to have a pretty big influence on the world with the decisions that we make. It'll be about more than just fighting as we expand our influence through diplomacy, building political alliances, and dialogue choices, with every decision having a lasting effect on the world. There's also going to be full character customization in the game for our main character, Eivor. We can play as male or female while picking the looks of our face, hair, clothing, tattoos, war paints, and even more. They also say we'll be able to immerse ourselves in the Viking way of life with things like fishing, hunting, drinking, and other mini games. And they've also overhauled the skill and gearing system, which I'll talk about in our next feature, which is the game's combat. They're talking about visceral combat with a revamp to the system to make it more impactful and brutal than ever. Specifically, they've really focused on getting this unique feel for each weapon in the game. The game's gonna have lots of famous weaponry from the time period, like the Viking round shield, tower shields, flails, spears, the bearded axe and Dane axe, long swords, etc. And they're also introducing dual wielding for every single weapon, and you can use any combination of the weapons in the game, including 2 shields. Yes, you can run around bashing people in the face with 2 shields. It'll be something. They also say you could do things like brutally decapitate your foes or vanquish them from afar. And yes, there will be up close and personal stealthy assassination options, as we are seeing the return of the hidden blade. They're promising as well to have a lot of enemy variety in the game, as they will be introducing new enemy types as you progress through the game that will have unique capacities and interactions with the environment, other characters, and the player themselves. There will be character and enemy levels, but they say that difficulty and progress is going to be more based on your gear and your skill as you unlock new abilities as your main way of progressing through the game. There has been a revamp as well to the ability and skill system. Players are going to have this large skill graph, they're calling it, that they will be traversing through as they progress in their journey. You'll be picking up new skills to fit a preferred play style, whether again that's going to be up close and personal melee or stealthy or ranged options. And gear has also seen a revamp from the prior entries, with every gear piece being unique and can be upgraded and customized. So there's not going to be a huge wide variety of gear from what I gather here, but the gear pieces will fit specific purposes. And if you find a piece that you like that is really good at up close assassinations or something, you can keep that piece continuously as you progress through the game and just keep upgrading it and making it better and better. So that's the combat. Let's talk briefly about the setting. Again, as we started off by mentioning, we'll be beginning by exploring parts of Norway until we then move our clan to the England part of the game. Now, the map of England is going to actually be quite large, they're saying, with the 3 major cities being London, Winchester, and York, and there will be tons of smaller towns as well. At any point, we can go back to our homeland of Norway, but from what I gather, a bulk of the game is taking place on this massive part of England. They also mentioned some other surprise locations that they don't want to talk about yet. So of course this could mean other countries and stuff, but it could also mean some hints of some of the mythological stuff. They have talked about briefly some of the Norse mythology and how this game will be touching on it. I don't expect them to go super mystical, as they're trying to keep it a more of a grounded Viking experience. I wouldn't be too surprised if, we have some dream sequences or we drink some mystical juice and we end up in another dimension, if you know what I'm saying. They also talk about trying to deliver a true Viking experience and really emphasize the sense of exploration. And in part, in doing this, they're going to actually be removing some UI elements to try to incentivize players to just go out there and explore and kind of see what they find. The next system I want to talk about is the raid system. We're going to be what they say is launching massive attacks against the Saxon troops and fortresses throughout England. We'll be leading our clan in these surprise attacks from our longship to pillage enemy territories and bring riches and resources back to your people. So the longships in this game will be the aquatic transportation, but it's primarily transportation and not about attacking and assault. We'll be able to upgrade our longship to make it move faster. We can even recruit a crew to make our assaults more effective. So don't expect like Black Flag levels of naval combat. The longship is really more about getting around and allowing you to go out and successfully accomplish these raids and then take your resources back to your home settlement, which then brings us into the settlement. To survive, we must build a new home for our clan in the new hostile lands of England, and we're going to be doing that by providing them with a home base of the settlement. The settlement is this location that we are just constantly going to come back to and build up and make better and better throughout the course of the game. So we can construct and upgrade buildings that will allow for deep customization, things like a tavern, a barracks, a blacksmith, a tattoo parlor, and more. And then from the settlement, we will be going out on journeys to complete tasks, do the main story quest line, gather resources, and even recruit people to bring it back to the settlement and grow the clan. And then that segues nicely into the Mercenary System, which is a way for us to create and customize unique Viking raiders. We'll be able to choose them as crewmates and try to pick the traits and abilities that will help us in our raids. And then also, the mercenaries that you make, interestingly enough, can be shared online with your friends. So if you get like a really strong mercenary with really good traits and attributes and stuff, you could, lend them out to your friends for maybe a bit of gold or something. So this is basically most of the information that we got from the 2 Ubisoft blog posts and the several articles from the various gaming websites. Now in the Game Informer article specifically, something I thought was interesting was it was talked about how the key pillars of this game are going to be the settlements, the raids, and assaults, which are kind of just larger scale raids that are more wrapped up in the game's narrative, and the combat. Those are like the 4 pillars of the game: settlements, raids, assaults, and combat. I think the settlement system sounds pretty cool, having this base of operation that you keep upgrading, that you recruit troops into, that make you better and get stronger as you go about your adventure. The revamps to the combat sounds pretty cool. And raids and assaults, I mean, it seems like it's just kind of a different wrapper on like attacking a fortification, really, which is the case in like a lot of Ubisoft open world games, the last 2 Assassin's Creed games as well. This has been a big focus, so it's not too surprising. They just have a new name for it, and maybe the difference here being that you're going to approach a lot of these from your longship, I suppose. But regardless, either way, this is cool. I'm not trying to diminish it either. Like, I'm pretty hyped for this. I really enjoyed the last 2 Assassin's Creed games, and I played the first couple way back when, was it like 20 years ago? However long it's been since Assassin's Creed first came out. But the latest 2 entries, being a fan of RPGs and loot and progression games, they really got, I just loved Origins and Odyssey so much, and I'm really excited to check out Valhalla. So a couple of other things I want to mention here before we wrap up. When is this game coming out? Well, they say it'll be coming in holiday 2020, which is still pretty vague. That's like a 2 or 3 month window at the end of the year. It will be launching on current gen consoles, the Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Stadia, as well as next gen consoles if they still come out this year. They talked about DLC will be coming to the game. Very vague, not a lot of specifics, but we'll be going to new locations with DLC and maybe getting some new systems and enemies as well. And then also, it's all cinematic footage right now, but a gameplay trailer is coming pretty darn soon on Thursday, May 7th at the Xbox Series X gameplay event. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be included there, so we're gonna get a gameplay trailer for this game. And the last thing I couldn't not mention is you get a raven companion in this game. So instead of the birds of prey, I guess, that we had in prior entries, we'll be companioned by a raven, which, you know, has some like Norse mythological background. Is that the word I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Look at this. I'm just here to talk about games. That's what we know so far. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If we get more details and info besides just a little spurts here and there, then I'll probably make another video talking about it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. I am most definitely going to play it, no question. So for the time being, I'm going to go back to obsessively leveling up characters in World of Warcraft, because what am I doing with my life?